Well, thank you very much for this opportunity. And on my very last day here in Rwanda, it is extremely emotional, as I've been here for the last 4 years, and it's been a very rewarding journey. I think that the quality of the partnership between the European Union and Rwanda at bilateral level, but also in the regional, continental, and multilateral level, I think it's excellent. So we enjoy excellent relation at all levels with both governmental and non-governmental stakeholders. So personally, I enjoyed every single day in the country. It's been extremely interesting to engage with Rwandans. And I found, I leave with a lot of, let's say, takeaways. And first and foremost, this sense of participation, the sense of community, the sense of purpose of the people. I think it was extremely important to generate this spirit. It's a can-do spirit, as I call it. There is very ambitious development objectives, and the European Union is strongly supporting Rwanda and the Rwandan government and the Rwandan people on these very ambitious development objectives. And so we aligned our cooperation and our partnership with this ambitious agenda. So indeed, a very positive experience across the board, even at personal level. Indeed, Rwanda is very high on the agenda in the European Union, and it comes, of course, with the expectations on both sides. And I must say that the quality of our partnership exceeded even my expectations. As I mentioned, I was able to engage, immediately at all levels, and these allowed me to put forward a number of initiatives, but also to engage in a very open and frank dialogue based on mutual respect, and that's very important. Even whenever we talk about, issues where there are some diverging views, I think it's a matter of attitude. I think it's very important to respect our interlocutor, engage, and that's what I did here in Rwanda. And I felt also respected. So that's extremely important. Yes, no, we can be extremely proud of the again, it's not only a matter of size of our cooperation, because of course very often people refer to the European Union as the largest or a very big donor in the country. I take it from a different angle, and I focus very much on the impact, on the deliverables, and in particular in support of the people of Rwanda. And that's, I think, is a matter of pride for us. If we look at the very last years, in different areas. I mean, from agriculture, where we've been extremely involved in supporting the government into the transformation of the agriculture sector, to move away from a subsistence agriculture into a more development of value chains. And this is what we will continue to do in support, again, of this very ambitious agenda of the government. We see a lot of progress in the country, both in terms of the productivity, so the quality of the production. Farmers are venturing into new high-value crops. And there is also an increased level of attention into the marketing and trade dimension. So also an export-oriented agriculture. And there is a lot of potential. And we hope that we will continue. I mean, in our new financial cycle, we will support the construction of the Kigali wholesale market, which is likely to become a center of gravity for this the trading of agricultural and food in the country. Then, of course, infrastructure has been also, and in particular in the energy sector, but we've been working very well with the Ministry of Infrastructure in defining key priorities. So we, together with the Japanese partners and the African Development Bank, We rehabilitated the Kagitumba-Kayonza-Rusumo road, which is a key, let's say, connection corridor in the region. And also we've been extremely active in the field of energy. So we've been supporting the country into its very strong energy agenda, both in terms of production, but also in terms of distribution. And we supported through a grid loss reduction project, the stability, let's say, of the whole grid in the city of Kigali. So here we enjoy in Kigali a very stable, let's say, supply of electricity, also thanks to some investments supported by the European Union. Then we've been involved in many areas. It's also in the governance area. We developed partnership with the Ministry of Justice, the Office of the Ombudsman, the Parliament, and a number of civil society organizations. Also, it's been extremely, let's say, positive, this dialogue between civil society and the government, and very often promoted and supported through EU projects. So we've been trying to bring together let's say, non-state actors with the government to discuss, to engage, and that has been extremely positive, especially in the field of agriculture, when we bring farmers' organizations to the table and in a kind of discussions with the government at central and local level in order to discuss issues of concern and find solutions. Especially from, the analysts, of course, they look at the number of the broader picture, let's say also in other countries. Here in Rwanda, I think we can again be extremely proud about the impact of our support. Of course, everything can be improved. And as we move now into the implementation of our new development cycle, we are extremely keen into identifying the most appropriate implementation modalities. So we will, let's say, channel our support through a combination of budget support operations, but also through project implementation. And in particular, I would like to highlight a new concept, which is the Team Europe approach. So the European Union delegation is working more and more with our member states, both presence, but also I can witness an emerging interest of non-resident member states. We have here in Rwanda 5 countries, 5 European member states who have an embassy here. But I can tell you that over the last years, I witnessed an increase. I mean, Rwanda is more and more on the radar screen of even non-resident missions. So our ambition is to bring together, maximize the impact of our support through a joint and coordinated approach with our member states. Of course, again, very much aligned with the development agenda of the country. The national strategy for transformation remains our main, let's say, direction. So we are not here to, impose or to question a number of strategic choices. We are here in support of the government of Rwanda. Once again, we are in a dialogue, in an open dialogue, both at policy level and also we have a political dialogue with the country, which provides an opportunity to, of course, exchange and to introduce ideas and test new ideas. But overall, I think, once again, the quality of our partnership is excellent, and I really look forward for even increasing this in the future. Well, as I mentioned, is mainly a matter of attitude. Of course, the promotion and protection of human rights is a pillar of the EU construction, and it's what also we promote in our partner countries. But again, we are not here, and we are not in other countries to give lessons or to point fingers. We are here to engage, once again, in a very respectful way, and that's what we did over the years. We also appreciate the peculiar, let's say, context linked to the reconciliation in the aftermath of the 94 genocide against the Tutsi, which, in my opinion, remains, of course, a very important issue to be taken into that discussion. So I think we have engaged in a very open way over the years on a number of issues. Of course, also the European Parliament has been involved, which enjoys, of course, is part of our institutional framework. Also in recent cases, the European Parliament expressed some opinions. And I think we were able to engage with the authorities, even with the parliament here in Rwanda, and with different stakeholders in order to explain, in order to engage, but at the end of the day also to respect the choices. And of course, we also appreciate Rwanda as a multilateral actor. So, the same critics that might, look at some areas, they lose sight of a number of extremely important, let's say, advancement in the field of social, economic rights. You think about the field of the protection of the environment, gender empowerment. I mean, areas where Rwanda, I think, is leading, and a number of countries should be inspired probably by what Rwanda is doing. Of course, we have to look at the broader picture, and I think again in full respect and in a very open and frank discussion is the only way forward. Well, we appreciated first and foremost the very immediate, effective approach and response to the COVID crisis from both the, let's say, humanitarian, health, but also socio-economic response. I mean, Rwanda being the first country in sub-Saharan Africa that has introduced a full lockdown, which shows again the level of engagement. So we have been supporting and as a Team Europe, together with our member states, and of course in full coordination with the broader international community, we've been supporting the country in responding to this crisis through provision and supply of medical equipment, including vaccines. Rwanda was one of the very first countries who has received vaccine donated from the European Union through the COVAX mechanism. But that was also followed by a number of bilateral donations. Rwanda proved to be capable to manage and to distribute this vaccine, and also thanks to a very, I think, strong public relation campaign, also to convince the population about the importance of being vaccinated. And of course, we faced and we still face issues in a number of countries where there is a kind of resistance to the vaccine. Here has been extremely limited, this issue. In terms of the socio-economic impact, of course, especially the lockdown does not come for free. Of course, there is an immediate impact on the people, on the economy, both the formal, informal economy. So there was a shock, of course, and we appreciated also the efforts in that area, and we've been supporting the government into providing additional, let's say, socio-economic support in the communities, both through the government and also through a number of actions implemented with civil society organizations, with some NGOs who have been complementary to the work of the government, in particular in rural areas. So once again, we can be extremely proud of this support that has allowed, of course, to mitigate the effect of this crisis. The crisis is not over, but what's important is that, this is a lesson for all of us in terms of how connected we are. A crisis like COVID knows no borders, and that's very important to approach it in a spirit of solidarity, but also in terms of finding solutions. And that's where also Rwanda, I think, made a step forward, because as a result of the crisis, it was also acknowledgement about the fragility of the supply chain of vaccines and other medical equipment, and in particular pharmaceutical products. And Rwanda, along with a few other countries in the continent, decided to find solutions even for future pandemic. And so we strongly appreciated this initiative to set up a manufacturing hub here in Rwanda. The country is extremely committed towards the, attracting investments in this pharmaceutical area. And we are extremely proud of BioNTech, a German company who is already in the country, and they will start production towards the end of the year. And the European Union, together with our member states, we've been really supporting this process in developing the regulatory framework, which of course was not there. This is a new industry. And so it comes with a lot of challenges, not only at technical level, but also in relation to the regulatory framework. So in order to support the Food and Drug Authority to achieve that maturity level that is required by, WHO and other relevant organizations in order to produce and even export the production. So I see a lot of potential for this pharmaceutical hub in Rwanda. There is a lot of dependency of African countries from imported pharmaceutical goods. And this initiative, again, along with a few other countries in the continent, is likely to change this equation and increase local production. And this, I think, is extremely important, to limit dependency from other countries. Well, as I mentioned, I'm impressed by this sense of participation. What happens, the Umuganda, which is, once a month, I see the spirit of Umuganda on a daily basis. So I appreciate the level of the participation, the respect for the public goods, which I can tell you does not exist in many other countries. So that's extremely, I live with this very strong concept in mind. And again, the working together, which is also linked to the reconciliation, and it's extremely, I have a lot of respect for that process. So it's very important to generate it. Another issue that I saw, a lot of change is the creative and cultural industry. I see culture and art and culture as a tool for development, and I see progressively the sector growing. And I think it's very important. I hope that both the government but also development partners will support this process. I see a lot of talent in this country, and I think if they are given the appropriate tools and platforms and stages, I think they can do a lot and can bring a lot to the country. The cultural dimension is very important. Sometimes is considered a kind of entertainment, and that's it. In reality, it's a sector of the economy, first of all, and can bring also a lot in terms of creative thinking. The artists, by definition, they have, creative minds, and creative minds are, I think, extremely relevant into this, development journey of the country. So this is another very important thing. The other one is linked to the youth. Yes, the youth, in this office, there's been a special place for the youth, and I received, I don't know how many young people coming here to exchange with me, to seek advice. But I can tell you that I was also receiving a lot from this conversation. I see a vibrant, let's say, youth community here. And it's also worth mentioning that the country is also experiencing an interesting brain gain, from young Rwandans who are coming back. So trained and raised in Europe, in Canada, in the US, you name it. And now they are coming back. They see opportunities in Rwanda. They take also pride into this development process, and they want to be actor and not just witness this process. So I have a lot of respect for these young people, and I did my best during my last years in order to support, to advise, to connect, because very often, is a matter of connecting the dots, and also to identify platforms to support the youth. And then I can mention a number of projects that we are supporting in, for youth entrepreneurship in particular. Development of innovation hubs, the so-called Anga hubs, in partnership with the Ministry of ICT. We are developing these Anga hubs in secondary cities. There will be, again, centers of innovation, and in particular for the youth to come with innovative solutions to the problems of the communities using technology, and we are supporting this process. We're also working with the Norsken Foundation, which is has recently established here in Rwanda. And I think that's another very interesting, let's say, center of gravity for youth development. So I see a lot of activities, actions, and interest around the youth. And I sincerely hope the youth are not only the future; they are already the present of this country. And I think there is a lot the country can gain in supporting and working with the youth. Well, if I may, just a word on the conflict in Ukraine. I mean, we do consider with no ambiguity this as an illegal, unjustified aggression, and that's where the European Union is building an international coalition. We've been also working with Rwanda in the framework of the General Assembly resolutions. Rwanda joining the European Union in voting in support of Ukraine, and also fighting against, let's say, this manipulation and this war of narratives, and in particular in relation to food prices. And that's where we're trying to counter this misinformation. I can tell you that the European sanctions, have no impact whatsoever into these commodity prices. But we're also trying to respond and to support our partner countries through a comprehensive global strategy, which is focused along four main strands. One is the humanitarian, meaning supporting and providing some, in-kind support to a number of countries. Then there is a production and resilience component where we're trying to support a number of countries, including Rwanda, to increase the level and the quality of the local production. Then there is a trade component to facilitate, let's say, global trade of food commodities. And the last one is the multilateral, meaning working together. So, it's very important to generate this global responsibility to these global challenges. So this is in a nutshell our views on these. We hope, of course, that the conflict will end. There is too much human suffering involved. So it's very painful to see this going on at this very moment in Europe, but with, again, spillover effects at global level. In relation to the regional context, what I perceive is a genuine interest of Rwanda to have a peaceful, let's say, neighborhood. Of course, Rwanda is building this vision and this development strategy based on, regional integration, continental integration, the implementation of the Africa Free Trade Area Agreement. So, of course, a precondition for all this vision is to have peaceful, of course, relations and stability in the region. So I sincerely hope that the ongoing mediation and dialogues that are taking place these days will generate the appropriate level of understanding that the peace is in the interest of everybody. So the war is not the solution. Conflict is not the solution. Insulting each other is not the solution. And I strongly appreciate this open spirit of the government of Rwanda to engage, to enter into dialogue at, again, a regional, bilateral level. And I'm sure, and that's my sincere hope, that this will be solved, let's say, in the near future. I think, once again, it's a mutual interest. It's a win-win. There's no way that communities are interconnected, So it's very important to have a very peaceful, environment. You name any sector, from the trade to the tourism industry, they all benefit from these, peaceful relations in the region. Well, no, it was a very cordial farewell call, and I thank the president, and through him the whole country for the warm hospitality I received since the very beginning, and again for the quality of the engagement and the results, because of course we all agree that the positive outcome of this partnership is the result of mutual commitment. And I think I use the opportunity to thank the president for this strong determination and dedication of the Rwandan people, again in the government, but also in civil society, and that made my role easier, so to speak. So I leave the country with a lot of good memories, and I'm sure my successor will even improve and increase the quality of this partnership. No, for sure, it's been, again, both professionally, but also at personal and family level, very, very interesting time that will remain with us, forever. And we created bonds, connections, and we explored the country. And then again, I mean, the potential of this country as a tourism destination, because of the natural, let's say, resources you have, it's huge. So I hope that the industry will grow. And again, I mean, I could not disagree more with those who say Rwanda is boring, because I mean, of course, it's a matter of engaging, exploring. I can tell you that I've been connected with a lot of, even artists, even singers. And again, I mentioned there is a lot of talent here in the country, the fashion industry, the music industry. I think there is a lot. Of course, probably what is needed is a more structured approach to this sector, also in order to market these activities and these events. I was lucky enough to be, very much introduced into these networks, and I was also aware and informed about some events. And probably some of my colleagues do not have the same connection, and sometimes they're not aware, so they can hardly enjoy all these events. But I think that traveling throughout the country really gave me a lot of, both in terms of understanding a little bit more the country, and also enjoying the beauty and the diversity of the offer that you can put on the table. And this is something I think that is being, and this is also something that I witness in my years, the different level and perception about Rwanda as a tourism destination, thanks to the branding of the Visit Rwanda and all the investment the government through RDB is doing to promote Rwanda as a tourism destination. This has been amazing. I can tell you, when I arrived, I had a little bit to explain about Rwanda to my friends, family, to bring a little bit and to raise interest around Rwanda. Today, I can tell you, thanks to these efforts and these investments, it's a different story. I mean, a lot of people are aware about Rwanda, they are interested about Rwanda, they plan visiting Rwanda. So I think there is an ongoing change of perception, which again is the result of investments. I mean, the operations with the number of soccer team, although I would strongly recommend an Italian team as part of this campaign. But I think brings a lot in terms of understanding, perception, raises curiosity of the people about the country.
What is that thing you miss when you go?
Well, it's a lot of a combination of things. I mean, I can hardly think about something specific. But no, but I have myself still, first of all, I still have to digest the fact that I'm leaving. I arrived in the office this morning like a normal day, and then you reminded me it's my last day in the country. So later today I will be leaving, and so I will probably start, thinking about a number of things. But for sure, I will miss the country as a whole. The people, the beauty of the country, and again, this spirit that I can see in Rwanda, and the power that these spirits can bring, in terms of changing a country, in terms of moving forward. And this is what I hope I will be able to bring even back home and to some other countries.
What food will you miss when you go?
Well, everything. You know, I've been, you know, even at that level, I'm someone who's not is exploring a lot. So, you know, recently I've been often to the Nyamirambo area in the evening, and you can also appreciate there this vibrant community, and it's extremely, you know, interesting. I'm moving to the headquarters, so I'm moving to Brussels, and I will remain a little bit in the business because I've been appointed as the head of the division in charge of Pan-African affairs, and that means the continent-to-continent relations, so the African Union, European Union partnership. And where Rwanda again is playing a very active role. So I hope that I will be able to still engage with my Rwandan friends and partners. And for sure, one of my first, let's say, on my agenda in Brussels is a visit to the ambassador and to the embassy of Rwanda in Brussels.
Thank you very much, Ambassador, for your time.
Thank you. And if I may, very last point, I always say that my only regret, if I have to say what I regret, that I could not learn Kinyarwanda. And that's, I'm afraid, it's very difficult and takes a lot of time. And when I arrived, I realized I had a lot of challenges. So but I always say that we all smile in the same language. And so I leave you all with a smile.
Thank you, Ambassador.
Thank you.